Hello friends and welcome to a very special edition of Nostalgia Talk Bonus. In this one, I'm going to be chatting with animator Claudio Quattrone, an animator from the recently released Space Jam: A New Legacy, which if you haven't seen it yet, go see it. It's amazing. It's really, really good. In this video, Claudio and I are going to be talking about Space Jam: A New Legacy and also the original Space Jam, and you might also see a few more surprises along the way. You never know. And now with any further ado, enjoy the show. So Claudio, welcome. It's great to have you here.
It's my greatest pleasure to be here, and thank you to you, James, to invite me.
Now, for anyone who doesn't know, as I mentioned in the intro, Claudio is an animator, and he animated on Space Jam: A New Legacy. I saw the movie a couple of days ago, loved it. Have you seen it yet?
Yeah, I'm seeing, and I love it too because it's an incredible movie, and yeah, I could pretty guess that it could be really fun. It could be really and it could have a good potential to have in box office too, to have a great future.
Oh, absolutely. Like as I said before we started recording, I wasn't even born when Space Jam 1 came out. So I've been waiting for this since like the day that I was born. I've always had these crazy ideas for what a Space Jam 2 would be like, and then finally it gets announced and I was like, okay, is it going to be like what I envisioned or not? And then when I see the first trailer, because I remember when the first trailer came out, which is when you and I started talking about this. For any of the listeners and viewers who don't know, Claudio and I have been talking about this since April. And I get a lot of asks in between Nostalgia Talks. Hey, who's your next guest coming on? Sometimes there is no scheduled one, and I usually don't reveal who they're with because I want to surprise you guys, and plus sometimes they could fall through. So Claudio and I have been talking about this since April, and now you guys finally get to see it.
Yeah.
So yeah, when I saw the trailer, I thought, okay, for Space Jam 1, what you've got is a bunch of aliens which explains the space part, that are challenged by the Looney Tunes characters to play basketball, and they need help from an NBA superstar, also known as Michael Jordan. And, you know, that's the jam part, because another word for basketball dunk is jam. And, and when the trailer came out, I was like, okay, how do you do a sequel to Space Jam now? Because it's one thing to just get a different basketball star, but what would it be like? Like, would it be with aliens again? And that's always what I kind of thought it would be. And then I see the trailer, and it's like it easily could be called Cyberspace Jam.
Yes. Yeah, because it's different the meaning of space, in my opinion. Because in the first movie we had the space, meaning as a universe, and aliens came from universe to get a challenge with the Looney Tunes in a basketball match. But right now the space meaning is totally different, because space is like I don't want to get some spoilers, but it's just if you could think something like the really space. So it's a huge place. It's a huge place where all of the Warner Brothers characters are living. And as you can see, for example, in the trailer, there are a lot of Warner Brothers characters like Iron Giant or King Kong, or all of the seriously all of the Warner Brothers characters inside the Warner Brothers world. So this is the correct meaning of space in this movie. And jam, of course, because it's a totally is a jam, because of course uh, we are inside the Warner Brothers world, so it's like a jam because again, as you could see in the trailer, LeBron James and Bugs Bunny moved around a lot of the world inside the Warner Brothers world, actually.
Now, how did you get involved in doing Space Jam: A New Legacy? Because you're in Italy, and that movie was done
Yeah.
in LA. Was there like how did that all come about?
Yeah, I'm not actually working for LA. I worked for Canada, because Warner Brothers asked for too many studios there in Canada, in Ontario, to work inside this movie. And I joined the production. It was already started, but there was this Montreal studio, and I tried to send them my candidature for, and then I finally received my right answer, and it was a yes. So they asked me to join the production, and this is actually how I get the job.
Nice. So how long were you on board for the film? Like when was all of that? How long did you spend working on it?
No, no, just a few months because the entire production, the whole production was like few months, like 6 or probably 7. The wall, the entire of the production, because again, just a lot of studios was involved in this production, not just one, and we were just too many people, and you could see, for example, for the credits. Really lot of names, a lot of people, and yeah, I spent just the few months, the few last months of the production.
Okay. So did you get to know like the directors and the producers all that well? Like Malcolm Lee and
Oh, no, no, no,
Terrence?
no,
Okay.
no, no. Mostly we stay connected with our supervisors, like animator supervisor, because probably Malcolm Lee or other directors probably were interacted with also the actors, so with LeBron James, of course, but also with all of the crew around the movie. But inside the animation studios, you have the possibility to interact, to stay connected also only with your supervisor, your animation director. So the more you could ask for example, if a feedback on your animation, the more that you could just be involved in a kind of a process about the animation, is the more that you could ask just to your supervisor, not to the director, to the, because for example, the main animation director is Spike Brandt, which is a veteran in animation in Warner Brothers. He's a veteran in Looney Tunes cartoons, and
Nice.
he is, for example, the one that constantly gave feedback to this studio, to other studios involved in the production. And yeah, Spike Brandt was I think the only one we could call like director in animation, but each studio had their own supervisors, and those supervisors were the only people connected with the Spike brand. So, but we as poor animators, we had only the possibility to interact, to stay connected with to speak actually with our supervisors.
Nice. I'm just gonna say this: animation is hard. Like I draw a little bit, but the hard part about animation for me is trying to make your character look consistent to the frame. Like in the last one, you got to make it the same model, and it's
Yeah,
really, really hard to trace over it. I've done it, but it's so difficult, especially when you have to look at it and it's like, oh, it's fatter than it was before. Like so that happens to me a lot. So for animating the Looney Tunes characters, because they've really changed their kind of style in their last few shows,
yeah.
in the Looney Tune, in the Looney Tunes show, which was a sitcom. Are you familiar with it?
Yeah, and seriously, you can speak, for example, for I don't know, 1,000 people, and all of those people who had the opportunity to animate Looney Tunes characters probably said the same thing. Looney Tunes characters are really hard to animate. It's really, really, really hard to keep a model, and as you said, stay consistently in just keep in the same character in each of your drawing, and
Right.
it's the hardest part. It's just not the only one, because you have also to think and figure out the animation, because animation sometimes is acting, and you before know to drawing better Bugs Bunny, for example, then you have to think also how to get acting in his animation. So if, for example, Bugs Bunny needed to, for example, jump between two places, you have to know how the jumping is in in physic or in body mechanics movement, but you need also how Bugs Bunny uh, makes that jump, does that jump. So it's very very hard.
I can imagine. And for Space Jam: A New Legacy, because I remember when it was announced, and I had been watching a lot of the newer stuff. I've been a Looney Tunes fan since 1999, and so I'd kind of followed the way that they look. Not that a kid like me is going to pay attention to how a character looks differently. That's for nerds to decide, like me. And And I remember visualizing when Space Jam: A New Legacy was finally announced, like release date announced. I remember thinking, okay, is it going to look a little bit like it did on the Looney Tunes show? Is it going to look a little bit like it does on the newer stuff? And then I see the first look where we actually get to see that it looks almost identical to the original. So
Yes, yes.
yeah. So did you like have to watch some older Bugs Bunny stuff to really know how to draw the Looney Tunes characters in that way?
Okay, I can mention you, for example, the Looney Tunes cartoons, which is a new show about new lot of episodes about new series of Looney Tunes, and
Now streaming on HBO Max. If you have it, go watch
yes,
it.
that one. And in that, for example, the models are pretty different. Are just the same, are very similar because, of course, the characters you can't going to change Daffy Duck, for example, because Daffy Duck is iconic. But in that show, you could see a tiny stuff changed in a face or in body, and yeah, you can manage and you can just see how the characters through the years, for example, or from a show to another are changed. I mean about style. I mean about if the show, for example, as the target like children, or if you, for example, wants to arrive to the heart of the adult, for example. So it's pretty different, but I think that for the feature films like Space Jam, or I can mention, for example, also Looney Tunes Back in Action is another good movie. I
Yeah.
think that for the style of these featured films, the characters, the models are just the same. For example, I mean, for example, for this movie, um, lot of the models are those of Chuck Jones. I don't know if you know Chuck Jones, but
Oh yeah.
he's
Chuck
okay.
Jones is legendary.
I think that that models of Chuck Jones over that golden age era is the main one, you know, is the best one that the Warner Brothers they used to use for these feature films, but sometimes use also to change style in on other shows or another yeah, another show.
I never thought of it like that. That's a really good way to put it. Wow.
Yeah.
Mm, mm. Now, did you do any of the work in computer animation when it was the Looney Tunes characters actually playing the game when they were all in CGI form?
No, because that one is CGI, and I can remember another show where Looney Tunes are in CGI. I think this is the first one. Probably I can mention a short film, a kind of Wile E. Coyote and Roadrunner.
Oh yeah,
And,
there were a few of those that were in the movie
yeah,
theater.
that was made in Philippines, I guess, probably 5 or more years ago. And I think that one, for example, if you, of course, if we don't count, for example, video games, so or
Oh yeah.
all of those stuff where you need, for, of course, to have the characters in CGI. But if you, I have to think, one of the biggest movie where Looney Tunes are in CGI, I think this is definitely the first one, I guess.
Yeah, yeah, and the CGI, like the fur on Bugs and Yosemite Sam and Daffy, it looked almost real. Like if you've seen
Yeah,
if you've ever seen the movie Yogi Bear, for example, the way that they
yeah.
kind of make the fur look very realistic. That's what I kind of compare it to.
I think the choices, for example, in this way, probably were two biggest. For example, the first one is to manage better, to match better with the actor. So with LeBron James and with the Goon Squad. So having a CGI in that case, I probably think was exactly what Warner Brothers needed. But the other things could be to merchandising because once you have the CGI is probably better for a child, for example, to compare with the puppet, because CGI probably because the fur or because other stuff. For example, if you see Tasmania Devil, is very similar to a puppet. So having the CGI in this movie was, I think, better also for the merchandising.
Mm. Speaking of Space Jam merchandise, I brought out some surprises, by the way. You want to see?
Yeah.
So, first thing I've got is I don't know if they have this in Italy, but they have Space Jam Happy Meals here in
Oh,
Canada.
yeah, I know.
And a couple of weeks ago, we were at my friend's house, and my sister was there, and my friend's kids were there. My mom was there, and my friend's kids were all like, "We got to get a Space Jam Happy Meal." And my sister even wants one, and I'm like, "I just ate. No, thank you. I will wait." And my sister's like, "Well, we're going anyway." And I'm like, whatever. It's a nice day out. All right, fine. And so we actually got one.
Oh yeah.
And this is like a little basketball hoop, and I'll show you what that does. There's these little cutout holes right here. What
Yeah.
those were basketballs.
Oh wow.
So I am now wrong way. So what I'm going to do now is I am going to put on my best LeBron James impression that I can.
Yes.
Yay, 3,000 points! Woohoo!
You did.
Or an added 3,000 points if I want to cheat.
Yeah. But
And
which was the surprise inside?
well, in this one, I got a couple of Space Jam things here. I have two toys from the Happy Meals. Here's one. It's
Oh
a
wow.
Bugs Bunny, and what he does is there's two ways you can do this. If you move him around, the ears, kind of catch the
Oh,
basketball. You can do that by shaking it or by moving this lever.
oh wow. Okay.
And the other one that I got was Sylvester. And it's funny, I went to go get another one about a couple of days later because I was alone in
Yeah.
the house, and I was like, okay, you know what? I'm just going to get dinner. And I said, I'm 22 years old, and can I get a Space Jam Happy Meal? I'm just really, really excited about it. And the worker, who's a friend of mine, thank you, Kate, very much. I know that you know I'm a nerd. So she said, you can just buy the toy if you want. I'm like, this isn't Toys R Us. No. And plus, I haven't eaten yet. And so they had two toys. One was Bugs Bunny, and I was like, got that. So I got this one, which is of Sylvester, and it comes with Tweety on a ball. And
Fantastic.
if I connect that, and if I push a lever down,
Fantastic.
it spins.
I
And
think in Italy will come September. The movie here in Italy will come out in 23 September. So after that,
oh,
yeah, but I don't know for what is really depending, but in Italy sometimes movies arrive also with a lot of delay. So
mm,
because I know it's probably too late because probably some people at that time probably could have a lot of spoilers about. But I think after the 23rd of September, so after the release here in Italy, also in the McDonald's, we could probably have also the Happy Meal surprises.
well, if any Italians want to have something to eat while watching Space Jam 2, might I recommend chicken nuggets?
Oh yeah, it's my favorite chicken nuggets in
Oh,
McDonald's.
really? Well, you might like this. What you do is you put the sauce right here, and it's like a basketball hoop for the nuggets.
Oh wow.
And my friend's right there in the drive-through, my friend that I mentioned before, and she says, "Do you want everything Space Jam related?" Because she knows it's for me, and it came with this little thing as well. It's like a
Oh
says it's a scavenger hunt. I haven't actually opened it yet. But
Which is your favorite Looney Tunes?
Hmm?
Which is your favorite Looney Tunes?
My favorite character, believe it or not, is Marvin the Martian because I love
Oh
the
wow,
voice.
I love it.
Isn't that lovely?
Yeah. Oh,
Well, back.
it's
Go ahead.
one of the funniest, in my opinion. It was one of the funniest.
Yeah, I think one of the funniest in Space Jam: A New Legacy, though, is another favorite of mine. Daffy.
Yeah.
Yeah, my money's on the other team. Mm.
Well, you imitate really, really. You're a good imitator, I guess.
Oh well, thank you. I spoke to Bob Bergen back in the fall. Do you know who that is?
No, no, I don't know.
He in the first Space Jam was Porky Pig, Tweety, and Marvin, and in Space Jam 2, he's just Tweety.
Ah,
Which and for any of the of you guys out there wondering and saw Space Jam, no, Bob was not rapping as Porky in Space Jam: A New Legacy. That was a fellow
that part.
Canadian, Eric Bauza.
I love that part.
Did you work on that part?
Oh no, no, no! Because it's in CGI. I
Right,
am a
right,
2D animator, so I
right.
just
Yeah.
no. I know how to animate in 3D in CGI, but for this movie, I was specific an animator as 2D and drawing the scenes.
I also have these, by the way, these little figures.
Oh wow!
LeBron James and White Mamba, and I picked that up yesterday, as well as I have huge hands, as well as this guy.
Oh wow!
And I wore my special shirt just for this occasion.
Yeah, me too.
Love it. We're
Yeah.
matching. Now, did you do any of the animation on?
This one. I have also this one.
Marvin and Daffy and Bugs and Taz and every character we mentioned.
Yeah.
Oh, nice. Nice. Yeah, did you find it hard to animate LeBron because you're animating a human basically?
Yeah, but as you know, and as you could see also in the trailer, for example, if someone already not seen the movie, LeBron is a cartoon in this movie.
Right.
So is was typical to have him, for example, in an animation in an animated scene, and I met him in one of my scenes just twice, I guess. I can remember, but not in a scene where he's the actor. So when
Right.
he is real, because I think that when he is real, the only scene where you no, probably two. There were two scenes where you have LeBron James as real and the Bugs Bunny as cartoon. It was in the Matrix scene and in the Mad scene. So probably someone doesn't know because didn't see the movie yet. But so I don't know if I can spoil or something. LeBron and Bugs go around world in Warner Bros. World to do stuff, and in two of those was where the Mad World and the Matrix World. So probably that two scenes were the two ones of where you could see the LeBron James real as an actor and matched with the Bugs Bunny cartoon.
Mm. Yeah, the only one I could really think of where he's just a cartoon and not CG was the very end, where and again to you regulars out there, sorry if I'm spoiling the movie for you if you haven't seen it. I'm just gonna say it again. If you haven't seen it, do it. Do it.
Yes.
It's such a great movie. Like when I saw it in the theater, I almost cried basically.
Yeah.
Like that's how happy I was to because I like as I said, Space Jam 1 came out before I was born, but I actually did get the chance to see it in the theater like 20 years later because they were re-releasing it here. And I get this phone call from my dad, and he's like, Space Jam is going to be playing at the theater as a matinee. Do you want to go? And I'm like, what kind of friggin' question is that? Yes, I want to go.
Yeah.
And so it felt like, this is going to sound so nerdy. It felt like time travel, even though I would know nothing about that period of time that it came out in, because again, I was not in the world when it came out, but
Yeah.
it was one of the very first movies that I ever watched. But
And you
yeah,
know, the Jam, the sequel actually, because this movie is not kind of sequel actually.
oh
This is
yeah.
another kind of movie. But if you could see, if we can call this like a sequel, kind of sequel was planned like 10 years ago or something. Then because production problems or probably the most of production problems is always connected to money. So, and there were many problems about having a sequel of Space Jam 10 years ago. And but I really happy that they did right now, and they had the opportunity to do right now, because now I grew up in the meantime and I had the opportunity to work on it. If the sequel was like 10 years ago, I was a child, yeah, at that time. So
Mm. I remember asking Bob Bergen when I heard from him for the first time, "Do you think Space Jam 2 is likely?" And he said, "Probably not. Warner Brothers isn't interested." And then I get him on this podcast, and I was like, "So you looking forward to the new Space Jam sequel?" Just so I can give him for it.
yeah.
That was fun. So yeah, animating LeBron, yeah, I can imagine where that would be a bit of a challenge, because you're essentially trying to make a real, you're trying to do like a cartoon character of a
Yeah.
real person, which is hard. Like, I talked to somebody I know named Joe Matthew, who works at Sesame Street as an illustrator, and I said to him, "Is it hard for you to draw the human characters instead of Muppets, because the Muppets are their own design? Humans are a lot harder to draw, I feel."
But for example, for the anthropomorphic, I think it's called, animals are mostly characters where the anatomical parts, anatomical elements like body or shoulders or hands or feet, all of these parts are inside the character. So even though, for example, Bugs Bunny is a bunny, uh, you could see the anatomy, you could see the body, you could see the shoulders, the chest and everything. So the way to animate a human is, I could pretty say, just probably similar to animate an animal with a human body.
Right.
And yeah, but in this movie there was a process to develop a Looney Tunes LeBron James. So uh, the chance to have LeBron as a character inside the Looney Tunes world, was the way to develop the character of LeBron James. But this is not actually what the animator does, because this is a kind of character design job. And sometimes you could have an animator that is in the same time also the character designer. Could happen. For example, I mentioned it before, Spike Brandt, which is the animation director of this movie, and the model of Bugs Bunny in this movie is by him. And so in this case, he was, for example, animation director, animator too, and also character designer. But sometimes what could happen is having character designer, which doing the model for your character, and then an animators need that model for doing the animation.
Interesting. Hmm. Yeah, the only uh, the big difference with LeBron being an animated cartoon once he steps in the Looney Tunes world, like, that's a big difference from the first Space Jam, of course, when
Yeah,
Michael Jordan, and you've seen the first Space Jam, right?
yeah, of course. And then the first
Who
one,
who hasn't?
Michael Jordan was totally grabbed by Yosemite Sam.
Mm, yeah.
And yeah, no, in this movie, it's probably completely like a different way to imagine that an NBA superstar was trapped inside the Looney Tunes world and asking to the help of the Looney Tunes characters to winning a a basketball match. It's pretty different from the first one, because in the first one we had Bugs Bunny to facing, the aliens and asking for or just grab it.
Stealing, really.
Stealing, yes, stealing from his world, Michael Jordan, to play basketball.
Mm-hmm. And for this one, LeBron James is threatened by Al-G, which for anyone who doesn't know is played by the one and only Don Cheadle.
Yes,
And Don says to him, "You can have your son back if you play a little basketball with me, and I'm
yes,
sending you to the world of the rejects because that's what you are."
yeah,
And gets matched with the Looney Tunes characters, and LeBron says to Bugs, I'm playing basketball and I have to assemble a team." Not really understanding, who he's telling this to, and then Bugs looks to camera and he's like, "Now that seems a little bit familiar."
yeah,
Because it's something, as I said before, when I saw the trailer, I thought, okay, how are they going to, like, because obviously, everyone knows of Space Jam, like, that's one of the reasons why I think it's so successful, because why this new one's going to be successful, we can only hope. Go see it if you haven't. I'm going to say that again. And so yeah, it's and so basically it's like, okay, we need to assemble a team, and and to me that's like Bugs remembering, okay, I've done this before and I remember who I had on it, and so
yeah.
let's try to get everyone
There
together.
is also, I don't want to get some spoiler, but there is also a scene where all of the crew of Looney Tunes hoping to see Michael Jordan.
Well, I'm gonna put it best this way, to you guys who haven't seen it yet. Michael Jordan is in the movie, but let's just say you'll be surprised by what I mean by that, because I remember sitting in the theater and Sylvester says, "We got Michael Jordan," and my sister is right next to me. She's like, "Really?" And I'm like, "I don't know." Because I'm trying hard not to see any spoilers for it, because
Yeah,
again, I have been waiting so friggin' long for this. The only thing I really ever cared about was just the plot, knowing what it's about, knowing who's in it. That's all I really cared
yeah,
about. Like at the rental house that I work at, a rental house for film equipment, and yeah, I've been doing an internship there, and they hired me this week. So
oh, wow, congratulations.
thank you. Yeah.
Congratulations.
Yeah. So to all you listeners out there, that's where I've been. I've been working the last few weeks, but I'm still trying to do this as best as I can. Invites are still being sent, so I guess you could call this the season 2 opener. I guess, I don't know, but at the place I work at, one of the guys in maintenance, his name's Henry. Um, the clip of Porky rapping had just come out,
Yeah,
and he says to me, "A new clip from Space Jam just came out. Do you want to see it?" And I'm like, "No, no, I don't. I want to be surprised."
yes, 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 yes. But
But I
I do like this too, because if some movie like me and I want to go, for example, to the theater, to the cinema, to being surprised about anything, the really first thing that I never do is watching some trailers or watching some spoilers. But in this case, of course, I needed to see the storyboard, for example, for doing the animation. So probably some parts I already knew since the time I was working on. And but I really appreciate you know what, I really appreciate the fact that they Warner Brothers didn't want to be too away from the first movie.
mm,
There are a lot of something that we can still see that is most like the first movie. Is a lot of things where you could just think, okay, I already seen this part in the first movie, and for example, of course, the basketball match, but uh, for example, that scene where there was that guy in production of Warner Brothers, which is with his phone in the hand and trying to be, grab it the serververse, that
mm-hmm,
scene, and it
yeah.
was a funny scene, and it's pretty similar to the first movie where there was I can't remember the name of that character, but he's the helper of Michael Jordan in the golf camp, tried to having to
I
find
think
him.
is that Wayne Knight's character, Stan.
Yes, Stan. Yes, that one. And he was in this golf camp trying to find Michael Jordan, and there was that really funny scene where there was a lot of sand, a lot of dirt around him, and he's still trying to find him. And it was a kind of scene that you could compare with this new scene where this guy from the Warner Brothers production inside the movie is trying to be grabbed by the serververse. So
Oh yeah, I never thought of that. The first thing I compared this one to with the last one was the opening scene, because the opening scene of Space Jam 1 is of course Michael Jordan as a kid realizing, okay, this is what I want to do, and then it's this montage of his entire career, and then Space Jam 2 starts like 23 years I believe before the events of Space Jam 2, and it shows him as a kid, but rather than just him living his dream, it's him playing basketball as a hobby, which he ends up doing
yeah,
as like and becomes a millionaire from it, but also at the same time realizing his love of Looney Tunes. So you have that little focus
yeah,
into it,
yeah,
and then it's this montage of his of LeBron James's career. And the thing that I get a big kick out of there is because the first one was promoted Michael Jordan co-starring Bugs Bunny, like
yeah.
co-starring a cartoon character. That's how it was credited. For this one, it was just LeBron James in Space Jam: A New Legacy, and in the opening credits, rather than just saying co-starring Bugs Bunny and Daffy Duck, it actually gives credit to the voice actors Jeff Bergman and Eric Bauza. And of course, I know these people, and I'm like,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah, Eric Bauza is also a voices of Bugs Bunny, not in this movie, but for
Right.
example in the Looney Tunes cartoons show, he is also the voice of Bugs Bunny.
And to any of you guys out there who don't know, in Space Jam: A New Legacy, Eric is doing Daffy Duck, Porky Pig, Marvin the Martian, Elmer Fudd, and Foghorn Leghorn in Space Jam: New Legacy.
Yeah, a lot of characters.
Oh yeah, yeah, he's really good. He's really really good.
Yeah, I talked with him just once in Instagram because that was a time that I it was a kind of early time with some voices that was around the sequel of Space Jam, and there was some little news about the probability of a new film with LeBron James. And I was pretty curious, so I started to follow him on Instagram, and I just seen that he was particularly involved in Warner Brothers stuff. And
Hmm.
I tried to write him, and he gave me an answer and answered me, and just we talked just a little, really little messages about. Yeah, about Looney Tunes in general, about the Looney Tunes cartoons, which was the first season last year. Yeah, that time the Space Jam New Legacy movie was nothing like serious or nothing like popular. There was something like 2 years ago actually, and so we talked just a little bit about the first season of this new Looney Tunes cartoons show and Looney Tunes cartoons in general. But yeah, I did a little bit of conversation with him.
I've talked to Eric a couple of times as well. He's a very funny guy,
Yeah, it's very funny. But
and
I never met him in person, so
me neither yet. Yeah, and he's a fellow Canadian. He's from Toronto.
oh wow.
I'm from a little farther away from Toronto. I'm in Nova Scotia, but
But is it originally from Philippines? I guess I knew this.
I think he's part Filipino.
Yeah,
Yeah, very funny guy.
I
Um,
started to follow him in yeah 2 years ago.
hmm. So, do you have a favorite moment from Space Jam: A New Legacy, like a favorite scene now that you've seen it?
No, but yes, of course I could have, but I want to mention you just the moment that I see for the first time someone as my supervisor drawing in front of my face in my computer for the first time Bugs Bunny. To me was incredible moment
Yeah.
because I did this scene with Bugs Bunny. I tried to drawing him as better as possible. Then I received some feedback by my supervisor, and in that moment, my supervisor asked me, "Do you want to have a call?" And I say, yes, I would like to. And he started to call him and sharing his scream. And in a moment, I had him in front of my face, in front of my screen, drawing Bugs Bunny to me. And was such an incredible moment because I never figured out like that time I was part in this beautiful production, beautiful movie because I slept with a Bugs Bunny puppet until I was like 12. So I was a
Nothing
huge,
wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that at all.
so I'm a huge fan. So first of all, it was to me an incredible dream to be part in this movie, but it was more incredible to have the name is Alan Seguin of this supervisor, and was drawing Bugs Bunny for me. So it's very very incredible stuff.
Yeah, I can imagine. I think I think my favorite scene, like my favorite moment in the film was when they were practicing how to play basketball in a spaceship.
Yeah. Wow.
And the reason for that is because in the background was that song "Mercy, Mercy, Mercy," and which is by the Jonas Brothers, and I'm a huge Jonas Brothers fan.
Uh,
So all the have you heard the soundtrack, by the way?
I heard it, two or probably three songs in total,
Okay.
but all of the all of the songs that I had the opportunity to hear right now is just the song. I don't know the name, but is the song you could hear through the credits through the, but also in the movie when was that part the son of LeBron James stands and arrived to the to Hop. No, sorry, not that part, but was he was introducing. So when Don Cheadle called his name and called him to arrive inside the match, and there was this song, but I can't remember the title. Sorry.
It's all good. I actually have with me the soundtrack for the original Space Jam.
Oh, wow.
I have the new one on my phone.
If I can be honest, for example, about something that is totally missing in this movie is a kind of song like "I Believe I Can Fly." Do you know this?
Yeah, I was kind of like I can understand why they didn't include it because of, let's just say, because of things that have happened with the person who sings that. But
Yeah,
I was kind so I wasn't surprised that they didn't reuse the original version of that song, but I was kind of hoping that maybe somebody would re-record it.
yeah. But yes, of course, also, for example, the soundtrack, which is "Come On Islam" and "Welcome
Look
to the
to the
Jam."
jam, yeah.
That one.
Everybody at my work was singing that on Friday when Space Jam: New Legacy came out because of
Yeah.
me.
Okay, and yeah, you can hear this song in the trailer, for example,
Yeah.
probably for grab as much as attention as possible because it's a popular song, especially for Space Jam, the first movie. But in this movie is something that I really would like to had, but they missing they missed the opportunity to insert this song, and yeah, was
Yeah,
I'm sorry
that was
about it, but
disappointing.
yeah,
That was disappointing that they didn't include that because it's like it's the signature song of the film, you know. And same with I Believe I Can Fly, but again, I can understand why they didn't use that one. Um, yeah, that
yeah, probably because in the first movie we had a little Michael Jordan desire to arrive in the like an NBA to be an NBA superstar to play basketball one time, and it was like Michael Jordan child, and is the the story of the Michael Jordan. So probably he is the protagonist, and it could make sense to have that song. But in this movie, we have also LeBron James having the kind of the same grow, but the child protagonist is the son. So probably is not typical the same.
mm, yeah, I never thought about that. So you asked me who's my favorite Looney Tunes character. Do you have a favorite one?
Oh, Daffy Duck is my one, my totally one.
Yeah, he's such a funny character.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I always laughing in front of his scenes. I always get some, really funny moment with, his iconic way to, his attitude or his way to speak. I really love Daffy Duck. I remember I skipped too many times the school when I was child to Saturday morning, for example, to see Looney Tunes in television.
Well,
Yeah,
hey, that's a good reason to want to skip.
yeah, of course, it's a good one.
That was for comedic purposes only. For any of you listeners out there, don't ever do that.
Yeah, but yeah, probably for Looney Tunes. I don't know.
So you've been a fan for quite a long time. Me too.
Yeah,
Love it.
and yeah, Duck is one of my favorite. Yes,
Mm.
but
I
also I get some laugh in this movie with Marvin too, because for example, the too many times Marvin was hit by the ship, the too many scenes inside the movie, and yeah, that those make me laugh in a lot of time.
Yeah, that's something I noticed about Space Jam: New Legacy as opposed to Space Jam 1. Is Space Jam 1, like there were moments where the original Looney Tunes short films were playing, and you could just see the original short films, and there were really no homages to them. Like for example, we have the most popular duck season, wabbit season, duck season. Yeah, there was none of
Yeah,
that in. I think the only classic Looney Tunes callback that they had in Space Jam 1 was the very end, which is that everyone's saying "That's all, folks" in their own fun way.
yeah.
And Michael Jordan's like, "Can I go home
They
now?"
tried to match some old, really really old episode of Looney Tunes. I think Golden Age, like those shots, those cartoons of Chuck Jones. For example, that part where there was that part where Bugs Bunny tried to to cut the hair of LeBron James, kind of.
Mm-hmm.
That part where he's seated and then Bugs Bunny started to speak with the kind of fake Porky Pig. That part. No, I think that is really similar to an old cartoon of Looney Tunes. It's something like I can't remember the title, but I already seen that part in one of the old cartoon of Looney Tunes.
Yeah, and a lot of the classic homages to some of the old ones that were in Space Jam: New Legacy. For example, when LeBron lands in Looney Tunes land,
Yeah,
and Bugs is like, "Okay, I'm lonely. Just yell rabbit season," and he dresses LeBron like
yeah,
Elmer, and then
like
drives
Elmer.
LeBron off of a cliff in a truck, which is of course a Wile E. Coyote Roadrunner callback, and it says their species type, and of course when he's doing his hair, that's a classic Rabbit of Seville, and when they're in the bar, which I believe is a parody of Drip Along Daffy's the name, that classic one. But of course, I think one that's really hard to miss is when Bugs tries to lure everyone into Marvin's spaceships. First, he's got to steal it, and he says, "I claim this planet in the name of the Earth," which is something Daffy said in an old one, and then Marvin hears that. I don't know how. "I claim this planet in the name of Mars. Isn't that lovely?"
And in that part when Marvin arrived, is totally the funniest part. Is really a stupid thing, but if you just focus on it, is really really funny. uh, Marvin crossed the legs of LeBron, just arrive, walking through the center of the leg of the LeBron, and say excuse me. And then
Because Marvin's such a small little character.
and it just under LeBron in the center of his legs, and said, "Excuse me," and to me, it's very fun.
Yeah. So, did you see Space Jam on HBO Max or on streaming, or did you go to the theater for it?
No, no, no. Actually, we had the kind of access to the film, and I had the opportunity to see by him, because it's kind of yeah, in HBO, but I don't know how to call this kind of platform, but we have this in Italy, and you can arrive to see something that is also outside your country. Because, for example, HBO Max, you can't see if you are from Italy. Not just from Italy, but if you are in Italy, there is something that it's kind of impossible to see something in HBO Max, because it's kind of Italian politics, I think. But if you use this platform, and of course you have to pay, then you have you have the opportunity to see something in all around the world, like inside HBO Max. It's legal. Don't worry, it's legal.
Yeah, we got Crave, which is where most HBO Max original programming comes here in Canada. Well, I don't have a Crave account, but for the most part, that's where it is. But I got to see Space Jam in the theater, and because we just got out of a big lockdown in May, and I thought all throughout that time, if theaters are open, I'm going to Space Jam, lockdown or not.
Or not. Yeah, yeah, but here in Italy, for example, now the situation about COVID is easier. Is something is you know is started again. Is something like a concert or music or events or manifestation. Is all kinds of stuff are back. But I remember, like in March or in April, I was a little bit afraid that the situation was not completely, passed. It was not completely over, and there was kind of a thought about the fact that probably the cinema probably will still close it in June. But I didn't know that time that in Italy the movie is come out in September. So probably in September everything will be okay.
Well, I got fully vaccinated just before Space Jam 2 came out, so I'm somewhat immune now. So
Yeah.
yeah. Well, that's all I've got planned. Claudio, is there anything you'd like to say to wrap up?
Yeah. Sorry, can you repeat that? I lost you for a moment.
Oh, I was just saying that's all I've got planned. Is there anything you'd like to say to finish up?
Something that I plan to see. I can remember. I can understand. Sorry.
Is there anything you'd like to say to finish? Like to
Okay. Sorry. No, because my connection is poor, and I constantly lost you for a moment.
Technology sucks.
Nothing. Just thank you so much for inviting me, and yeah, again, to consider me for this incredible opportunity to have an interview. To me, it was kind of really pleasure to be involved in this movie, and I'm 29 right now, and I really hope that this is my first movie that I had the opportunity to be involved on. It was like my first
Nice.
music production, because to me, like animator, I until this time I had the opportunity to be involved only in television series or in trailer production, or just YouTube videos, for example. So to me, this is the first opportunity I have for be part in a huge production, and I really hope to continue in this way, and just try to constantly growing every day, and try to have the same opportunity for next movies, for next productions.
Well, thanks for joining me today, Claudio. Very.
Thank you to you. Thank you to you for having me.
And to all you listeners out there, again, if you haven't seen Space Jam: A New Legacy, go see it. It's in theaters and streaming on HBO Max, which we don't get here. But if you get HBO Max, watch it. It's really, really good. Yeah, I'll see you next time on Nostalgia Talk. Peace.